Welcome everybody to my kitchen. Today we're going to be making stuffed peppers, as I said. So if you don't know already, on my website I've started a weekly menu of sorts. It is turning out to be themed right now, which was not my original plan, but with zucchini season and tomato season and my oven going on the fritz, as you can see. Maybe you can, I'm not sure. It's on the fritz right now, so we've been doing a lot of grilling and toaster oven cooking, so we've ended up with a lot of different themes with the menus. So the last theme was zucchini. The theme before that was tomatoes. This week's theme is garden / farmer's market, things that are, I guess, fresh, that we're seasonal, I guess that's the right word. So I thought it'd be a great time to do my stuffed peppers recipe, since a lot of us have our gardens growing right now, and the farmer's market is full of fresh produce, and it'd be a perfect time. Okay, there it goes. Okay. So my stuffed peppers, unlike a lot of stuffed peppers, are a little different. I don't use rice. It's kind of like not the recipe that I was given. I say recipe. I think I asked, this is actually my mother-in-law's, a form of her recipe, which she gave me years and years ago, that literally was a list of ingredients, which basically said, saute onions and tomatoes and garlic and this and that, and and then mix it with the bread and the egg, and that was pretty much the recipe. There was no measurements. So I'm basically going to be sharing the same recipe that she gave me. You can make this your own, but I don't put rice. We just use breadcrumbs. Actually, this is a good time to tell you what we're going to do. So I have these little peppers that are from my garden. So they're more like a bell pepper. They're a little bit harder. I love to stuff these mini peppers. I stuff them and I put them in on a roasting pan, and I throw them in the oven and I roast them, and they're delicious. And they have a thinner skin, and you don't need to boil them or any of that stuff. You could also poach them in some sauce. So I'm going to see. I'm just going to see. Yeah, my peppers are pretty small, so I think these will work. I'll cut these in half too. I'm going to do both of them. So what we're going to do is stuffed peppers. You can use smaller peppers are better for my recipe. If you're not going to use smaller peppers and you want to use like a bigger bell pepper, you may want to par cook it ahead of time. So what I put in mine is going to be, I have somewhere here, garlic, of course, olive oil. And I'm actually going to just do it. Garlic, onion. I have some chopped onion off to my left here. Some garlic. Have some dried Italian sausage, super sod. I'm going to chop up a little bit of eggplant. And I didn't have enough tomatoes this morning. I have these little organic cherry tomatoes growing in my garden. So I had a few of them. I can't get them out. They're dropping they're small. So actually I'm going to put my oil in here. So I'm going to turn this down. So here's what I do for my peppers. So I have some peeled tomatoes, canned peeled tomatoes, because I didn't have enough. That's what I was saying. I didn't have enough of the cherry tomatoes. All right, here goes. I'm going to start with my garlic. You know, I'm not like a fancy chopper, so I'm just going to throw that right into my pan here. You hear it sizzling away. You can mince it. I mean, I'm just doing a rough chop. You cut this any way you like. I'm going to take literally how I was taught. A handful of chopped onion. You can chop it finer if you want. Okay, I'm going to just give that a turn. This might be a little high. You don't want to do this too high. So we're going to basically soften all the vegetables before we mix them with the breadcrumbs. Okay, I also use an egg, Parmesan cheese, and somewhere over here I have mozzarella cheese, and we're going to mix it all together. Okay. The next thing I'm going to put in here is a little bit of this chopped eggplant. You want to peel the skin off. I don't like the skin. I've already washed this. I would say like that. I mean, this is a baby eggplant also, so the seeds are smaller. So you don't need a lot in there. Okay. Max, just tell me if we have any viewers on, just so I know.
think we have one at the moment.
Okay.
More to come soon.
No, it's fine. It's lunchtime, so that's the beauty of Facebook Live, is that the video live on forever. Okay. And I'm literally just chopping right into my pan. I bet you this ends up being like a quarter of a cup of eggplant. If you don't like eggplant, you can use zucchini. As a matter of fact, if I had zucchini, I probably would have put this in here. And remember, you want to dice it. I mean, you should probably chop this the best way you know how. I'm more of an, you guys know me, I'm a little more old-fashioned that way. I mean, I'm not like a classically trained chef, so I probably like get yelled at by like Gordon Ramsay or someone, right? Like, why are you chopping like that? I chop, you know, this is how I chop. I have my little Italian knives here. Like I always say, every Italian girl gets these knives when they get married. I think most of them do anyway. I'm cooking again in my Tefal saute pan with thermospot. Tefal sent me these pans and I've been testing them out and I love them because they have this built-in thermospot technology, which I will show you in a minute. And it basically, these saute pans have a red dot in the center with lines around it. And when you start heating your pan up, when the lines disappear, you know that it's at the right temperature to start sauteing your meats and your vegetables. And I think it's great, especially if you're not super comfortable in the kitchen. I love it because I'm comfortable in the kitchen, but I'm always running and doing different things, and I'm not always keeping my eyes where it should be, so it kind of gives me that indication of when things should be ready. Just gonna let this saute a little bit. Just gonna put a little bit of salt here. You wanna flavor it. I just did a handful of salt. You don't wanna make it too salty either because you're gonna put cheese and you're gonna put the dried sausage. If you don't eat sausage, you could substitute with mushrooms. You could really do any garden vegetables that you like. The idea is just that you dice them up and chop them smaller. I also sometimes put peas in here, which I didn't have. So I used like the bottom half of the eggplant. All right, you could also, which I've done in the past, which is actually really good. Actually, I'm gonna do that today. I've washed all this produce ahead of time. You can chop up you can chop up your peppers, a few of your little peppers in there too, give it a lot of flavor. Probably should have done that in the beginning just so that they would be a little softer, but I'm just going to chop them up real tiny. Alright, as this goes. So what I'm going to do today, since I don't have the oven, is I'm going to bake these in the toaster oven. So hopefully they come out and they work. Alright, I'm putting like one mini pepper. So if you were using like a bell pepper, maybe like, I would use maybe half of it. The bigger bell peppers tend to have that harder outside. I don't know the technical term, but I like the baby peppers. The mini peppers, I should say. So they're a little softer and easier to use. And I'm going to put a little more. I'm going to use the whole pepper. You really just want to saute this for like 5 minutes. I may actually put a drop more olive oil in there too. I just want to cut this up quickly. I'm going to put a tiny bit, oh, I might have put too much. Don't put that much oil. It's okay though. Listen, you're not all going to make this live like me, so if I make a mistake, you guys know, right? It's okay though. All right, I'm also going to put some chopped parsley in there too. All right, so we have that cooking. I'm going to just give that an extra 2 minutes. And while that's happening, I am going to grab my little tomatoes here. So I had like 3 measly little cherry tomatoes, which I love to cook with. I have my cutting board here on the side. And I was kind of hoping I was going to get like a good amount, but I didn't. That's okay. You can use fresh tomatoes. I'm going to actually do a mix. Alright, and while that sautés, I'm going to throw in my dried sausage. I'm just hastily chopping this to get live, so I think these should be a little bit more diced. but you get the idea. And like I said, if you don't eat meat, it's totally fine. You can leave this out. If you don't eat pork, you can do beef, I'm sure. If there's any beef, Italian beef sausages, but you could put beef. You could put a little ground beef in here, I guess. You know, that's the beauty of cooking like this. You can make any recipe your own. If you don't have an ingredient that I have, it's okay. Make the recipe your own. It doesn't have to be 100% exactly how anybody makes a recipe. I have my little ramekin here. I'm going to put a little olive oil in there and bake this off in my toaster oven. But I usually put it on a big sheet pan, a baking sheet pan, pop it in the oven at like 425 degrees and let them roast. So I really don't want this to be too juice. I don't want a lot of the juice from the peeled tomato either. I have half a peeled tomato here. I'm going to use that. I'm going to take that little black part out. I don't want all that juice. I don't want it to be too wet. Okay. So basically what I'm doing is just softening up all the vegetables. And they're going to go into a bowl of breadcrumbs and mozzarella cheese. I want to show you guys. Max, can you see that? Can you see that T in the center there? So that T has dots. They're like lines that are all around the red dot, around the perimeter of the pan. And when those lines disappear, that's when you know that it's time to sear your meat, saute your vegetables, whatever it is that you're cooking. I think we have a link in the comments where you can get this. It is my Amazon affiliate link, so feel free to click it and purchase it. And like I said, I did receive these as a gift from my friends at Tefal. I'll show you first off, because some of you may not have garden peppers. These are mini peppers. Get them in the supermarket. They come in a bag, red, orange, yellow. I love these for stuffing. They are so great for stuffing. Just gonna see this. I'm gonna scoop that out. I mean, it looks small. I take like a little spoon and then I use it to stuff it. Actually, even sometimes I'll take the end of the spoon and I'll turn it inside. And there's some I have fresh parsley here. Just gonna chop it right in. You can use whatever herbs you have on hand. Happen to have parsley today, so I'm using parsley. You don't want too much. This is great, actually. This is nice and rendered. I don't know if it's rendered. It's nice and softened down. Onions are nice and soft. Okay. I'm going to just turn that down. I'm going to do 2 mini peppers. This one's really wide inside, so it doesn't really need too much. And then I'm going to take this beautiful, have you ever seen a pepper so beautiful? I don't know what kind of peppers these are. We got them at the beginning of the summer when we were planting. Clean my knife off a second. And they grew in this beautiful, they almost look like eggplants. I'm going to call them eggplant peppers. If you know the name of these peppers, put it in the comments, because I have no idea what they're called. I'm just going to clean it out. Yeah, like that. Okay? And I'm going to put those in my baking dish. Like so. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to do 2 kinds for you guys. All right. I'm going to push off my induction burner to the side. I have here 3 handfuls of breadcrumbs, plain breadcrumbs. Actually, I'm going to put a little parsley in here too. You can season this any way you want. I'm going to put a little bit of black pepper in this and a little bit of salt, but not too much because there's salt in the cheeses and the sausage. I'm going to just chop up a little bit of fresh parsley that wasn't sauteed. All right, these are my extra breadcrumbs in case I need them, but I don't think I do. Now just don't forget, you can get the full recipe on my website. Actually, I'm going to put the cheese in because this will melt. Handful of shredded mozzarella cheese. Ooh, it's good. Another big, I have small hands too, keeping a spoonful of Parmesan cheese. This delicious pepper, tomato, Italian sausage, onion mixture. That's what we're going to stuff our peppers with. Oh, it's yelling at me because, okay, I'm going to put that right inside. to mix this up. And then I'm also going to put an egg in here to blend it. Just one whole egg. One egg is plenty. Mix it up. So I put the cheeses in first so that it cools down the breadcrumb mixture. That's why I have everything, like the colder things in there, so it kind of cools it down so that when you put the egg in, it doesn't start to cook it. This is the breadcrumb mixture. All right, here's what you're gonna do. You would do this in a larger quantity. Because my oven isn't working and I'm using the toaster oven, I'm just using this little ramekin here. Actually, you know what would work? So just consider this like your baking tray. This is a better idea than the ramekin. But you do need to oil it a little bit, so I'm just gonna put a drop of oil on here. I'm just gonna rub it in. Sorry, I'm using my hands. Okay, and then I'm gonna show you a little tip on the peppers, the mini peppers, on how to keep them from all the stuffing from popping out. And don't, just push it right in. These are fine. It's okay if they break because you want to have a little bit of air in there because that's what prevents them from exploding. Not exploding, but what will happen is as this cooks, it'll start to pop out. So if you put little slits in there, put a little air in there, they won't come out. So these are the mini peppers. I stuff it as much as I can. You can see that stuffing in there. And I also like to just like roll the pepper around in the olive oil, but I'm gonna give it another little drizzle before so we did that one. Let's do this garden pepper. My mother used to always say, don't make a new recipe when you have company, but I guess I never really listened to my mother, did I? Okay, same idea. I guess I'll just scoop it right in. I just wanna show you just a little bit. You just wanna, I'm literally just, don't cut your hands. Do this on a plate, don't be like me. Okay, there we go. Just a slit, you just wanna, okay? So, I have my toaster oven on at 450. You probably would do this in the regular oven at like 425. I think I'm gonna stuff another big one. You know why? Because I wanna know, truthfully, how the bigger peppers will fare with this recipe, because I've only made them with the Italian cheese peppers. Those that are like, you've probably seen them in the supermarket. They're like red and green. They're like vinegar pepper. And these mini peppers, which I love, which you can get everywhere. I hope they're gonna be as good as they normally are since we don't have the oven working. Feel free if anybody wants to donate an oven. Cheftini's Kitchen. Oh my gosh, they're so expensive. I don't know what I'm gonna do. You could also put like grated, not grated, like another shredded cheese on the top here, but I wouldn't do that just yet. All right, so when you bake in the toaster oven, you can either put it on this lower, you gotta do this before it's hot, obviously. This rack is movable, so you can take it out, turn it over. It has different levels, different heights. For roasting, I've been using the lower rack on mine. I'm just gonna put a little bit more oil on here. I usually do the mini peppers, like I said, and I roll them around in the olive oil so that they, I'm just putting extra oil on here to keep these from sticking, and of course to give them flavor. I can't imagine. So you could put cheese on here, but I'm gonna put this in. I wouldn't put the cheese on in the beginning. I would wait until it's almost done and then melt it on. Otherwise it's gonna be burned. And test it out. I'm kind of testing this out with you guys. Be careful not to burn yourself. I'm gonna close this, but I'm finding I've had a lot of luck cooking in the toaster oven. Although I need an oven, I've had a lot of luck cooking in it. So this will probably take like 20 minutes, and I'm not going to bore you guys with watching it, but I'm definitely going to put pictures up and show you guys when it's all done what it looks like. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any tips or tricks or your own recipes that you want to share with all of us, feel free to put them in the comments below. We're always looking to share. That's the whole idea of my website, and what I do is I love sharing recipes. I love hearing about other people's recipes, and there's not, what is that expression? There's more than one right way to do things. So everybody has a right way of cooking their peppers. These are made with breadcrumbs, tomatoes, onions, Italian sausage, mozzarella cheese, Parmesan cheese, salt and pepper, some garden, I don't know if I said it, but some garden tomatoes. It's all mixed up and stuffed into either a mini pepper or a mini bell pepper. And that's our Cheftini live for today. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you all back in my kitchen. Hoping maybe next week. School's about to start again and we can get on a better schedule. Maybe we'll try a night session and see how that goes. Anyway, have a great day, and I will see you all soon. Bye.